Okay, good morning, everyone. Could we please rise for the singing pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Delegate Hutchinson, could you please offer prayer for the group today?
I'd be happy to. Let's bow our heads. Dear Lord, we are all so blessed to be here today to represent the people of the beautiful Eastern Shore. Please keep all of us in good health and good spirits to ensure that we can fulfill the responsibilities we all have assumed to make our community safer and more prosperous. Please continue to keep our fields fruitful and our waterways bountiful. Give us the patience and fortitude to listen to all sides, all positions, and all views to guide us to informed decisions. We are grateful for all that you have provided us and ask that you continue to love us and to take care of us. Within your arms of love, amen.
Amen. So good morning. Welcome to the Eastern Shore delegation. Today is February 17th. Today, first off, I want to approve the meeting minutes from February 10th. Could I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Second bit of business, there's a letter in your packet for support to Benedictine. Can I get a motion on that letter?
I make a motion.
Well, it's got to be a member.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I get a motion, Tom or Wayne?
So moved.
So moved.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Thank you very much. All right. So good morning, everyone. Today we are pleased to have with us the secretary or acting secretary for the Department of Veteran Affairs, Tony Woods. Mr. Woods, are you with us? I see you. There you are. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
So we're happy to have you with us. We've had one cabinet secretary, and I think before it's all said and done, we'll probably have 8 or 10 present to us. And we call these handshakes, so much as that can be done through a computer. And we're so very pleased to have you with us today, and just look forward to hearing a good word from you. And if we have any questions, we'll surely have that come after your presentation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Is it okay for me to go ahead and dive in?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
All right. Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you making time to meet with me. My hope is that this is one of many, many, many productive conversations, and it's the beginning of a conversation. Governor Moore has been very clear that he wants his cabinet to work really closely with partners in the legislature, and it's just been a total pleasure getting to meet so many of you during the my sort of confirmation process. I've had a chance to meet with Senator Carrozza, Senator Hershey, Senator, and I'm looking forward to meeting more of the delegates and the entire delegation here. I promise this is not a gimmick, but I'm actually heading out right after this conversation to Salisbury. So I'm excited to be heading out to the Eastern Shore. And then my husband and I actually have a place in Easton. And so I know there's a phrase, you're either there's from here's and come here's, and I understand that I'm a come here, but it is really the Eastern Shore. We gained a tremendous amount of appreciation for just the connection to the land and the water, the traditions, the history, the pride. And so it's always been a pleasure to spend time on the Eastern Shore. I'm there basically every week. And so I look forward to getting up and down the Eastern Shore, seeing many of you there, meeting with veterans, their families, and working closely with you to have an impact on their lives. I wanted to just raise a couple of things from a priorities standpoint. You know, we as a department have to, of course, make sure that we get the core basics right and do right by our veterans and make sure getting access to the benefits that they have earned from their uniformed service and supporting them and many of the challenges they might navigate. But one thing that's also important to me is to recognize that veterans are small business owners across our state. They're drivers of economic activity. And it's important for us to also think about what are the ways that we can support them in their efforts to give back to their communities and have a really positive impact. And so I'm looking forward to crafting that kind of agenda in partnership with you. My second priority is really thinking about how do we elevate military families as and the issues that they face. It is part of our mission here in the department. It includes and their families. And so I think it's important that we really think about the fact that military families, military spouses often find themselves kind of between organizational boundaries. They're kind of the responsible of the Department of Defense. But more often than not, states don't do the best that they can to make it easier for military spouses who are chronically underemployed or unemployed to get jobs, to make it very easy for their licenses to be portable, to make it easier for kids to integrate into our schools without onerous paperwork, since they're kind of moving around in lots of places. And so I'd love to work with you to think about what an agenda for military families looks like on the Eastern Shore and for across the state. And then I wanted to just quickly touch on a few things that I know are of particular importance. So I wanted to remind folks that we do have a Veterans Trust Fund, which is really designed and intended to support veterans and their families who might fall on economic hard times. One of the issues that I know is actually quite important for veterans who live on the Eastern Shore and some of our more rural parts is rural transportation is a real challenge to their appointments, to the support that they might need. So the trust fund does provide grants to organizations that focus on issues like veteran transportation. So I just wanted to put that out there if you have organizations that you think might be a good fit there. Second point that I'd raise is I've had a great chance to talk with Senator Carrozza about this, but the VA is moving towards a smaller home model for veteran retirement homes. That allows them to be more geographically dispersed, making it easier for families to stay in touch with their loved one and stay closer to their loved one. And so we've got a second veterans home in addition to Charlotte Hall, which will be opening in Sykesville. But there's a desire for the sort of third and fourth veterans retirement homes that we work on in the state to be on the Eastern Shore. So the Salisbury, Cambridge area is of course, next on the list. And then Chestertown or the Northern Shore is something that we'd love to sort of think about. How do we work on identifying those sites, securing the land and the resources necessary to build those? Last quick point that I'll make is that we have a really beautiful veteran cemetery in Hurlock. And we often do what we call unaccompanied burials, where veterans who don't have a family member or a loved one to join them for that final funeral, we ask the public to join and pay tribute to them. And so I wanted to just raise that for you all. We do those about quarterly. And so we'll, of course, make sure that you all are aware when there's going to be an opportunity. They occur at all of our 5 veteran cemeteries. And we'd love if you were able to join, pay your respects. They tend to be about 15 minutes long, but they're a really wonderful ceremony. The last one at Hurlock had about 200 people. And so they're very regularly well. So I'll leave it there and open it for questions.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Wood. While some members consider whether they have questions or not, I just wanted to reflect on the first point that you made, is that you're coming to Salisbury today, and we truly appreciate the new administration's interest and care for the Eastern Shore. I think the governor was down at some point this week, or maybe it was late last week, and
I believe he was in Easton.
Yes, absolutely. And so to have presence from the administration means so much for us, from Cecil County down to Sussex County, and we truly do appreciate that. Jake Day, who's going to be the secretary, or is the secretary of DHCD from Salisbury, we're fortunate to have some representation, I'll call it, on the cabinet level, and very happy to have you here. Members, do we have any questions for the new secretary? Okay. Delegate Ahrens?
Yeah, sorry about that. Mr. Secretary, welcome. I just had a quick question. You said you're heading to the Eastern Shore on business or pleasure?
A little bit of both, in fact. So one, I've mentioned this with some of your colleagues. It is actually very important that I have good manners and let folks know in advance of my arrival or advance of coming to these things. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to give a little bit more advance notice. My predecessor, Jim Atkins, retired General Jim Atkins, is in Salisbury. So I'm going to do a visit down to Salisbury. He's going to sort of show me around to some of his local veteran friends there. And I'm going to use it more as an educational opportunity. And so I'll give you all better advance notice because I'd love to meet with anyone you think it's important that I see or you in the district.
That my question was based on that. We do have a couple groups in the area that very, very interested in veterans housing and help put some people together with that, and would love to get you hooked up to at least get your name and your information over to them, because they'd welcome any support or any comments or movement you may have. It's great to meet you and congratulations. And like I say, I'll find out the information on you and we'll get you that over, get it over to you. Okay, sir?
I appreciate that. Yeah. My email is just anthony.woods@maryland.gov. If you want to shoot me an email, I would love to connect with them. And whether it's this afternoon for coffee or in the weeks ahead, I'm delighted to meet with them.
Great. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
You.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chair.
Mounts, did you have a question, or looks like his hand's down?
Yeah. Thank you, Chairman. I was late getting on the meeting. I apologize, and I missed the presentation, but I wanted to say good morning to Secretary Woods. And I don't know if it was shared earlier, but the Secretary also has residence on the Eastern Shore. So we'll be seeing. Hopefully, we'll see him out and about amongst us on a regular basis. Isn't that so, Secretary Woods?
That's absolutely accurate. I'm very much looking forward to the weekend in Easton. And I mentioned Senator Motz. We absolutely love the Eastern Shore. I recognize that I'm not a native, but I appreciate the hospitality nonetheless. And it's been incredible to spend basically every week there. We spend about 2-3 days a week there.
Well, Secretary Woods, I'll restate and say we're fortunate to have two. I probably ought to do my homework before I. So happy to have you with us today. There's another hand up. I'm not seeing it right now. Is this a member?
Yeah, Chairman Adams, it's Senator Hershey.
Hi, Senator.
And I apologize. I'm driving right now, so I did not want to be on camera. But Secretary, thank you so much for speaking with us today. And I appreciate our conversation that we had prior to executive nominations, and just want to follow up on that as we're talking about areas of the Eastern Shore, the Talisman Therapeutic Center that is right in Graysonville. We mentioned that, and certainly would love to have you take time and come visit that facility. And we'd be able to put together a number of people that I think would be very interested in meeting with you as well. So I know you're getting a lot of requests very early on in your tenure as the secretary, but at some point in time, maybe when the weather's great, we can have you out there to do that as well too.
It's actually better when the weather is worse because there's fewer people driving over the bridge. But no, I really appreciate that. And again, Governor Moore made it clear we're not supposed to govern from Annapolis. We're supposed to be governing from all over the state. And I would love to get out there. I did send a note to my lead, who's reviewing the grant proposals, but she's out sick. So I look forward to hearing back from her, and I'll reach out to you once I do.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Secretary.
Delegate Hutchinson.
Secretary Woods, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that there's a wonderful event occurring in Easton this weekend, Fire and Ice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how well the ice will handle these temperatures, but just wanted to make sure you were aware that was happening too in our district.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love it. Second to Waterfowl Festival. That's probably my favorite one, but yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, not seeing any further questions. Secretary Woods, thank you for taking the time and shaking hands with us, and all the best to you during your tenure for our great state of Maryland.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, so next we're going to have Chop Tank Community Health, Sarah Rich and Lucy Hughes is with us. Sarah and Lucy, before you present, Eli Modlin with Salisbury University, I'm going to have to pick a point somewhere in this agenda today. Would like to address the group briefly on the news with the War Museum, but I think we're going to stay on calendar just for a moment to keep the process going. And Sarah and Lucy, good morning.
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for having us today. And I feel like I need to disclose that I am also a come here. I'm a come here from Michigan, but we've lived on the Eastern Shore in Easton for the past 17 years and certainly fell in love with it. And it's home. So I'm not sure if I can ever make that transition from a come here, but I've been working on it.
You're here, and that's the important thing, right?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And again, it's really great to be with you all this morning. I'm excited to share with you about all the things that are happening here at Choptank Community Health. So I'm going to really just give you an overview and then talk about what's new and what's happening. So first of all, I always like to start with our mission. And the mission for us here at Choptank is to provide access to exceptional, comprehensive, and integrated healthcare for all. And that's our guiding light. That's how we make all of the decisions here at Choptank. And as I give you the update, you'll see how those really fit into what our mission is. So in terms of exceptional care, we believe that every resident on the Eastern Shore, anywhere, deserves access to high quality care. And that's what we want to provide. That's what we do provide on a day-to-day basis. We ensure that the services are comprehensive. We do provide primary care, and that includes pediatrics, women's health. We do medication-assisted treatment, prenatal care. We have dental care as well, specialized with pediatric dentists. We do have a partnership with Shore Regional Health, where we are doing some dental surgeries in the outpatient facility in Cambridge, and we will be expanding that into Chestertown as well. And then we have behavioral health, and that includes therapy and medication management. So we really do have that comprehensiveness in terms of like a one-stop shop. And then integrated, all of those services, our care teams, our providers are working together every day to ensure that our patients have healthy outcomes. So that's really key, that the care team is talking to one another and huddle to ensure that we are providing that high quality care that I mentioned. In terms of where we are, we have 7 health centers. We are in Caroline, Dorchester, Kent, and Talbot County. We have a very robust school-based health center program. You can think of a school-based program as like having a doctor's office in the school. And we have those in Caroline, Talbot, Kent, and Queen Anne's counties. We also provide school-based dental services across 32 sites, including Dorchester County schools. And in those programs, we provide dental cleanings, sealants, and fluoride treatments for the children that are enrolled in the program. We have a migrant health program, and we do go out to all of the migrant locations across our service area and provide care for when the migrants are here working. And all of this wouldn't be possible without the incredible community partners that we have and that we work with on a day-to-day basis to reach community members. So in terms of what's new, I wanted to share with you, you may not know that we are accredited by the Joint Commission. We just had our 2022 Joint Commission survey, and we participated in that voluntarily. We asked the Joint Commission to come here and evaluate how we are doing on providing that safe and quality patient care. So they showed up, I think it was in October, and they were here with us for 5 days. They were amazed by our mission and commitment to that mission and the care that we provide to patients. So we did really, really well with that. And certainly that wasn't a surprise to me or our teams. When you think about Joint Commission, they're evaluating us on 194 standards and 848 requirements, which explains why they're on site for 5 days. There's a lot happening there. So we had 17 areas that we needed to address, and all of those areas were low to moderate risk. And since that time, they've all been addressed. So we have that gold standard of quality, and that's important to us. That's important for us, for you to know, for our patients to know, and for our community to know. The other area of focus for us over the last couple of years has been behavioral health. And you may be aware that we've added those services back in 2021, and we now have a behavioral health provider in each of our locations. We have been working with the school system as well, because we know that there's a lot of needs in the schools for our students. We've hired a behavioral health provider that's working in our Caroline County school-based health centers, and we are providing some behavioral health services in Queen Anne's County. And we are looking to expand behavioral health in the schools in Talbot County as well. In terms of school-based health centers, we've been busy on that front. We have opened 5 new centers in the last year. So we have 3 new sites in Queen Anne's County and a new site in Kent County, and expanded to an additional school in Talbot County at White Marsh Elementary. We're really excited because we have hired a dietitian who's going to be providing nutritional services in our schools. And then certainly the behavioral health piece is important. We have some other big projects happening. I think a lot of you are aware that we are moving forward with replacing our health center in Federalsburg. We anticipate the new center will open in the summer of 2024. And that center is going to be about 20,000 square feet. Our current center is about 8,000. So it's going to give us a lot more space to meet the healthcare services of the community there. We'll have more access to care for dental and medical, and then there will be more behavioral health services as well. Teaching is a really important piece of what we do here at Choptank. We have a lot of nurse practitioner, physician assistants, dental students come through. We have a partnership with NYU Langone for a dental residency. We're adding pediatric dental residents, and then a partnership that you heard about at one of your prior meetings with University of Maryland School of Medicine to bring a rural residency track to the Eastern Shore, and specifically in Federalsburg at our new building. So we did have the bids out for the construction contracts, and those opened last week and will close March 8th. So we're excited to see what those are going to look like and to get going there. Kent County, we've been very active in Kent County over the last year. We worked with Shore Regional Health on a collaboration to expand the services that are available in Kent County. So now Choptank is providing primary care services and behavioral health services to patients in the old Shore building there in Chestertown on Philosopher's Terrace. We have hired an architect and engineering firm to redesign the space that we're in today so we can accommodate additional services. We will be adding dental in Chestertown. So we're really excited about that and having some additional space for additional behavioral health and primary care services. In addition to what we're doing in Chestertown, we did open a school-based health center in Rock Hall at the elementary school. And we've been working closely with Dr. Couch and the Kent County Public Schools and the health department to move that forward. And we are really excited because that school-based health center is going to now be open to the community in Rock Hall. And so community residents can come in and receive care there as well. In Easton, we'll move to Talbot County. We did just complete construction on our site there. Previously, we were only providing pediatrics in Easton, and now we're offering family medicine as well as the integrated behavioral health piece. Women's health is another topic that we have been focused on in the last year. We do have women's health service and prenatal care currently in our Federalsburg and Cambridge offices, and we know there is an increased need for that service. We've just hired a certified nurse midwife who is going to be able to help provide more of those services. Something else that is kind of new and exciting is mobile units. You may have seen some of our Choptank mobile units out on the road. And we worked really closely with the Preston Motor Group. We had some funding for the American Rescue Plan, and we've added 3 mobile health units that is allowing us to go out to the community where people are. We're using those for some of the school-based dental services, and then we're supporting some community events. We've also applied for a grant with the Maryland Community Health Resource Commission to utilize one of our mobile units up in the Kent County area to provide substance use disorder services, and then provide some access to those behavioral health services on the mobile unit, as well as using virtual telehealth. So that is very, very exciting. I did want to bring your attention to a couple of things related to the ending or unwinding of the public health emergency. The process for the Medicaid recipients to go through in terms of that redetermination has been on hold for the last 2.5 years. And now with that public health emergency ending, our patients and community members, those that are on Medicaid, do need to go through that process. There is a very extensive campaign that the Department of Health, the Maryland Managed Care Association is working on to communicate with residents across the state. They're doing mailings, texting, outreach, telephone calls, lots of education to make sure that folks know that they could lose their Medicaid coverage unless they re-enroll. And so that is a really big piece of unwinding the public health emergency. The other pieces, we all know there were many flexibilities that were built in through that public health emergency, including telehealth. And so many of us weren't doing telehealth, and overnight we brought that on board. There is a bill out there right now, I believe it's Senate Bill 534, the Preserve the Telehealth Access Act. And what it does, if you're not familiar, is it reimburses and covers those audio only visits. And we think that is really important, especially in our rural area, because as we know, some of our patients and our residents in the community don't necessarily have access to very reliable internet. And we really think that that is a patient-centered care option to allow for that to occur. So that bill is out there as well. So we've been really busy here at Choptank as always, and we're excited that all of these things are contributing to us meeting our mission. I really thank all of you for your continued support, and certainly keep us in mind as there's funding opportunities out there. we could use some support for Kent County and Federalsburg as we move forward with those renovations and construction. So really appreciate the opportunity to share with you this morning. Thank you so much.
Sarah, thank you very much. And indeed, you are busy. You covered a lot in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know that the delegation is unanimous in our support of you up and down the shore. We wrote a letter of support on the rural residency program that you referenced earlier, and that went to the parties that wanted to hear about that on February 7th. So your delegation's active in trying to engage and speak on your behalf to the extent we can on issues that matter. And we're doing that on many different things, but you were one of our priorities. And thank you for presenting the other week alongside with Shore Health and University of Baltimore. Delegate Hutchinson.
Sarah and Lucy, it's great to see both of you. Sarah, in HGO this week, we had a hearing on House Bill 290, requiring parents and guardians of all children enrolled in the public schools, a child care center, home care center, to provide evidence that the child has received a dental screening within a certain time period. It's supposedly a non-punitive bill, but my question is, do we have the resources? Does Chop Tank have the resources to be able to provide that on the Eastern Shore?
That's a really good question. And I would want to go back and read the bill so I had a good understanding of what the requirements are. I do think this has been a bill that has been introduced over the years. Dental screenings are a very important part of your overall health. We know oral health is very important as well. So in terms of the dental screening, I think that is a really important piece, but in terms of how it's implemented, I think I would need to look at that so I had a better understanding and could give you probably a more informed answer. And I'm happy to follow up with the delegation after this session and provide some more thoughts on that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Delegate Grice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sarah, certainly, I just want to extend our appreciation again for everything you guys do, both in our schools and in our communities. And it seems like you all are just constantly growing and doing more. But I'm just looking at the budget now, and I may have missed it because I had to take a call about halfway through your presentation. So in the Department of Health's budget, it's $8.8 million is the total cost of a project, but it doesn't tell us what it is. And it's funded at $1 million. Is that for the Federalsburg facility?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the Department of Health, Federally Qualified Health Center grant.
Yes.
So we anticipate that moving forward at $1 million.
And that's for Federalsburg?
Correct.
Okay. And then you mentioned also, or you asked about funding. Are there any other requests that you might need, in the FY24 budget? I don't know how much is going to be available. We have about $2 billion less than we did last year, which is going to be a huge challenge for us. But
yeah, so certainly, the Federalsburg project, I don't have the final estimate on what the total cost will be, but I anticipate it's probably going to be higher than what we thought when we went into it, given all of those things that are happening around us. So additional support for Federalsburg, moving ahead in the renovations up in Chestertown. Putting in a dental center is a pretty big undertaking in terms of expense and equipment. So we are looking at that as well. So those are really the two main capital area items that we would be looking at for support.
And you don't have any funding for Chestertown right now, correct?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
Okay. We'll reach out to you.
Okay.
Maybe we do a pre-auth or something.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions from the delegation? Lucy, did you want to say hi? I don't know if I cut you off or not. I saw you on the agenda, but
Yep, Sarah covered it all. Good morning, everyone.
good morning. You're a wonderful smiling face today. Good to see you.
Thanks.
Okay, doesn't seem like we have further questions. Let's see. Chop Tank Electric, are you here, Val and
We
Matt?
are on the call. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
And
good morning. Go ahead.
we're going to share our screen if that's okay. We have a couple of slides just to run through real quick so you have something to look at.
Val, before you start and while you're working on that, after your presentation, I just want to let the members know that we're going to have Salisbury University speak on the Ward Museum project in between after your presentation, but before Chesapeake Bay Trust. So that that'll come up after yours, and that doesn't speed you up at all. You have all the time in the world. Just wanted to announce to the members.
Great, thank you. So good morning. I'm Valerie Conley, Vice President of Government Affairs and Public Relations with Choptank Electric Cooperative. On the call today with me is Matt Tifo, our Manager of Government Affairs. And I also wanted to let the delegation or remind the delegation that we're represented in Annapolis by Cornerstone Government Affairs, which includes PJ Hogan, Bernie Marzik, and Delora Ifakache. I'm going to give you just a brief update on the electric and broadband side of the business, and then Matt's going to update you on a few pieces of legislation we're watching. So for over 80 years, Choptank Electric Cooperative has served the Eastern Shore with reliable, affordable electric service. We are member-owned by the 56,000 plus customers we serve in 9 counties on the shore. This slide is a few stats from our 2022 year-end report. With a 99.99% reliability rating, the average number of outages per member was under 2. Our call center, staffed in our Denton and Salisbury offices, handled almost 50,000 calls last year. We have 158 full-time employees. And Choptank owns 6,367 miles of electric distribution lines, with an average of 8 customer meters per mile. And we have almost 1,400 net metered accounts. These are members who have installed rooftop solar. Over the 2022 calendar year, Choptank continuously worked to upgrade the electric infrastructure to ensure reliable, affordable delivery of electricity to our members. We are working through some nationwide supply chain delays on equipment like transformers, with advanced ordering, reconditioning services, and giving preferences to residential needs. An inspection of all 40,000 electric poles is underway, and our goal is to do about 10,000 poles per year in that inspection. We constantly monitor our cybersecurity systems and make upgrades to protect the grid. There were no major winter storms or hurricanes in 2022. We did coordinate with various state and local electric assistance payment programs for members in need. This helped to keep the electric on for members with financial challenges this past winter. In 2021, we launched a regional training program at our Salisbury facility for apprentice linemen. And then this summer, we upgraded the training yard to add the Smurf line, which is shown in the photo on the screen. This allows the linemen who are in training to be closer to the ground and closer to the instructor, providing an additional layer of safety. We are currently finalizing a partnership with Warwick Community College to offer a 12-week pre-training course for recent high school grads or others seeking to become linemen. The program will include CDL training, safety instruction, and hands-on pole and line work at the training facility. Graduates can go right into an apprenticeship program with Choptank or one of the other utility companies or contractors in the region. We continue to work on with our hunting community on the Don't Shoot the Lines awareness campaign. And we wanted to let you know too that our 2023 annual meeting of members will be held at the Talbot Community Center on April the 27th. We're making great progress in the effort to construct fiber broadband systems throughout our member territory. This is a system that our members requested and that you helped to make possible back in 2022 or 2020. Using the cooperative principles that are at the core of our business, Choptank Electric Cooperative created Choptank Fiber, which is a wholly owned subsidiary, to deliver the high-speed, high-quality, and affordable internet service to families and small businesses throughout our territory on the shore. Our goal is to serve the unserved first. With support from local government, grant funding, and a strong business plan, we are delivering on the promise of inclusive, reliable service in the rural community. Last summer, we celebrated a full year of build out and all of those milestones in our Cooperative Living magazine. To date, we are providing service in 6 counties, and we are actively pursuing projects in the other 3. We have passed more than 4,000 locations and are making service available on a weekly basis. We've been approved to offer the FCC Affordable Connectivity Program, the ACP, which is a discount to customers who qualify. On the broadband side, pricing starts at $84.95, and that's for 100 megabits of service. And we now also offer up to 2.5 gigabit service for the few who need that level of speed. We like to say we're building for the future, but we're making it available now. There are no data caps on the broadband service, and the speed is symmetrical, so you get the same download and upload speed. We're launching a voice program for customers who want a traditional phone in their home. And we're providing Command IQ, which is a suite of internet management and protection services, free of charge to all of our customers. Finally, on the broadband side, we continue to stockpile supplies to avoid supply chain concerns there as well. We're working with vendors to locate materials on our facilities well in advance of our need. We've been holding community meetings and communicating by mail with customers about broadband service availability. This fall, we held meetings at 2 high schools in Caroline County. Members came out to ask about the process, how they sign up, how they can meet with our engineer stakers to decide where the drop goes from the road to their house, and what size package is best for their family. We actually learned as much from our members as they did from us at these meetings. We've been able to adjust our process and improve our offerings based on the comments and questions that were shared. I'm not going to go through everything on this slide, but this just shows our FY21 grants, which had projects in Queen Anne's, Caroline, and Somerset counties. And in that same year, we partnered, we did a project in Hebron in Wycomico County that was outside of the grant process. Turns out we are working quicker and connecting members much faster than we had anticipated. We are finishing grants that had allowed for a 3-year build out in just 14 months. This is the 2022 grant slide where we had projects in Caroline, Cecil, and Somerset counties. We also worked directly with Worcester County on a project to connect another 470 members recently. Our CEO, Mike Melandro, has described the FY22 project as massive. And he said it's kind of like running fiber from Denton to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's the distance and the number of miles we have to run in order to complete this project. But we are targeting completion before the beginning of the next school year. And the FY23 grants, we're anxiously awaiting the announcements from Governor Moore, Secretary Day, and the Office of Statewide Broadband. We had to have the applications in December. We applied for projects in all 9 counties. We're told that the announcements will happen very soon. So we hope to be able to announce new projects very soon to everybody on the shore. And I just want to put a plug in for the continued grant funding opportunities that come through the Office of Statewide Broadband. The cost of reaching home sites with less than 8 locations per mile is significant. The grants from the state capital budget and then the Federal CARES Act, the American Rescue Plan, and now the new BEAD funding in the federal infrastructure bill are making service to the unserved possible. We need to make sure that the pending state budget is amended to authorize the pass-through of the federal dollars from BEAD. Delays could mean that our contractors move on and our momentum slows down. So we thank you for recognizing the cost and continually advocating for the funds. Now I'm going to turn the program over to Matt, and he's going to finish up with a few of the bills of interest that we're following.
Thanks, Val. And that is a great segue into one of our first priorities with the capital budget. And we've been working closely with the Rural Maryland Council and others to make sure that the supplemental and budgetary language is placed into the budget to address that pass-through dollars for the federal funding. On the other operating budget side, we are supporting the Rural Maryland Prosperity Investment Fund. We've been doing that for a number of years now. It's been working very well in our rural communities that we serve on the Eastern Shore. And we see that as a big win for the communities that we serve. As of yesterday, we supported House Bill 551. This is Governor Moore Broadband Expansion Incentive Act of 2023. And it allows a subtraction modification under the Maryland income tax for certain qualified broadband grants awarded during the taxable year, and also exemption to sales and use tax for network equipment. The hearing in the Ways and Means Committee in the House was held yesterday, and I want to thank all. I looked just to double check this morning, and I saw that everybody from the delegation was a co-sponsor of that legislation. So appreciate your support in those efforts. Next slide, please. Another bill that we're supporting is House Bill 678, Senate Bill 640. It's a sales and use tax on farming operations exemption. Really, this bill provides clarity and a cost-saving measure for our farming members on the Eastern Shore. And I know it's been introduced last year, and I believe the sponsor is Speaker Pro Tem Cerise Sample Hughes, and a number of other delegation members are sponsors of that bill as well. Again, we just see it as providing clarity in regards to the exemption that other manufacturing commercial operations have. And then just a few other bills we're monitoring. We're not taking any positions, but they do have, potential impacts to our grid and our distribution systems. And that is dealing with net energy metering and community solar. Next slide, please. And as always, Val mentioned, we are always seeking to advance our ability to detect and respond and recover from cyber events. We see a few pieces of legislation to help beef up some of the programs that are currently available through the state and federal programs that are coming down from the infrastructure bill that was passed. And then that's a good segue into some of the last pieces of information is federal update. We are always engaged with our federal delegation. As Val said, mentioned the supply chain issues, inflation, and then all the various funding that's coming down for infrastructure projects. And if one point I'll leave with is emphasizing the importance that is for our national security and maintaining an affordable and reliable system on the electric side. And I will need the next slide. You've seen this slide before. We had it last year, and I think even the year before that. But Chop Tank is a member of Old Dominion Electric Cooperative, ODEC, and they have various assets through the region in Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. One of them being the Wildcat Point Generation Facility in Cecil County. This is a state-of-the-art natural gas generation facility, 1,000 megawatts of reliable power. We go to the next slide. When this operation is running at full capacity, it provides reliable power, baseload generation, and can power over 390,000 homes. So it's been online for about 5 years now, going on 5. And I know there's a lot of interest in visiting this site, and we always invite the delegation and hope to get you out there later this year after session. So with that, I see some questions, and I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Chop Tank Electric. And we do. Well, let's see. Delegate Ahrens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Val, thank you guys for the presentations. They're always good to see with the broadband side of it too. I have a question for you about, do you know how much renewable energy Chop Tank is delivering currently?
So our renewable energy, so I think you know that we have a 100% contract with Old Dominion Electric Cooperative. So they do all the buying. So they have a large scale renewable energy portfolio, which we could get you some further information on where they are with all the goals and the different, whether it's solar, wind, or other renewable generation that they're bringing and delivering to us. But we don't buy it individually. And so some of the goals on RPS are not specific to Chop Tank because of that 100% contract through ODEC. But I will follow up with you and get you the latest on the ODEC RPS goals and where they are in meeting those.
One of the reasons I asked the question is we're being asked on another bill to continue with the ESREC and all that stuff as far as accelerated costs to keep solar moving forward, if you will. And right. I'm resisting that because I sometimes think that legislatively we're missing the boat. We're legislating the state of Maryland into penalties because of our aggressive goals. I don't know. I mean, most people don't understand that we do not produce anywhere near enough renewables within the state. So we rely on other states to sell us what they can't produce for their own state. So I think it's interesting to bring that out to the public, because we're selling this renewable energy, which is a good thing. Don't misunderstand me. I think that's a great thing, a great goal. It's a laudable goal. But when you look at the whole picture, where we get our energy from, Maryland's falling far short of the goals that they even put for themselves. And we claim a great renewable resource in Maryland on the backs of other states. And I think that needs to be rethought of as far as legislatively, to keep a little bit of pressure off of people such as yourselves and ODEC and anybody else. But I thank you for the comment. We'll talk.
Thank you, Delegate. And we look forward to talking to you guys a little bit more about some of the challenges we have in the Chop Tank territory on rooftop solar and some of the other renewables, because as you all know, we're primarily residential customers. We don't have a lot of manufacturing or big users of electricity during the day when the sun's shining. So, we're continuously trying to work with our members to be able to encourage and allow more solar, but we have a limit on the amount of demand there is in our territory for additional generation. So we're happy to talk to any of you offline or give you a little bit more information on how these things impact us directly. Thank you.
And Delegate, I know on ODEC's website, they have a really good basically one pager on ODEC's footprint within Maryland and some of the questions you had about renewables and how they're seeking to become net zero carbon emission by 2050. So we'll make sure you get that.
Okay, Delegate Grice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt, did you say that you guys were looking for a supplemental appropriation in FY24 for broadband?
In just regards to making sure the federal dollars from the BEAD program, each state was allocated $100 million from the federal government. I know the Rural Maryland Council is sending a letter in support requesting that supplemental language be placed in the budget.
Would it help if our delegation sent a letter as well?
Yes. That would be great, because if it's not actually in the budget, when the federal government makes the money available to us in June, because I think we're expecting an allocation that will say 100 million or more. When they tell us about that in June, if it's not already in the budget, then there's a delay. We have to go back to the Board of Public Works, and it takes some time to get that authorized. We want to make sure that the grant process continues and they make money available as quickly as they can, and we can apply for it in areas where there is need. So if it's already in the budget, that makes that work much faster.
So could you guys send a draft letter to Chairman Adams' office? And then I don't know if we have to do a vote, Mr. Chairman, or not, or if that's something you're interested in.
Well, so Delegate Grice, why don't we try to do that business right now, if you don't mind? Val and Matt, so the essence of a support letter speak to the federal grant dollars that if we don't get a appropriation, we'll lose the match. Is that correct?
We may not lose the match. It might be delayed. So the board, I think the Board of Public Works could come back and do something later, or you guys would authorize it next year, but we don't want that delay in the process. We need as soon as the money's available, we want to be able to have it granted out to the folks who are trying to connect people to broadband.
Okay, and then the other essential part of a letter of support would be what's the dollar amount, just so I can
at least $100 million. So I think if you authorize the $100 million that we've been told we're going to get from the federal government, if there's a need to amend that, if we get more money based on their allocation, then that could be done by the Board of Public Works or come to you guys next year for that. But at least the momentum stays moving, we keep that momentum and it moves forward. So we've been told that it'll be at least $100 million to every state.
Got it. Okay. So Jeff, our Delegate Grace, if you'd like to make a motion to do such a thing, I'd certainly encourage it. Just let me know what your will is. If you want to do it offline, and that we can do it that as well. It's really up to you.
Yep. So move.
Or you want to make a motion?
Yes.
All right. So delegation making a motion on writing a letter of support on behalf of Chop Tank Electric. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, all those opposed. Okay, so Chop Tank will have that letter drafted, hopefully with your support, so we get the wording right and aim true to your interest, and we'll have that out early next week.
Great, thank you.
All right. Any other members? Questions for Chop Tank? So Val and Matt, thank you very much for presenting. Matt, you may not realize this, but almost after I got elected, you were the first person that reached out to me and said, I'd like to be on the agenda, Chop Tank Electric on the agenda. So we appreciate your patience, and you have the distinction of being the first yes we said of many who've asked to speak, and we truly appreciate your partnership on the shore and your interest in presenting to us. Delegate Hartman.
Real quickly, Val, why was my bill so high last month? No, just kidding.
Turn off your lights.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll be happy to talk to you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Delegate Hartman. Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you very much. Members, as I mentioned before, I'm going to ask if it's okay for Salisbury University to come on board for a moment. And Eli, I see you on the call here. We'll grant you within reason as much time as you'd like to present to the delegation. I know this is probably a more convenient way for you to reach all the members and share news. And I will open it up to questions from the delegation, though I don't know, since we didn't make this part of the agenda, whether any will be forthcoming. But thank you for coming on, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Delegate Adams, and good morning to everyone. We had the opportunity to meet with the Lower Shore delegation right before session, and we had the opportunity to talk about a number of things, and one of them was the Ward. And I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware that yesterday the Ward Museum released information to media outlets, letting them know that they will be relocating to a spot in downtown Salisbury. Certainly, specific questions should be directed to the Ward staff, and they will be able to effectively answer any specifics that they have available. But obviously, this is a partnership with the university, and we're working to ensure the safety of the collection. And we will, do anything that we can to support the Ward Museum and ensure that their critical mission continues to get delivered on the shore. So that's the best update that I have for you right now. We are still in, and the Ward is still in negotiations with regarding where it will be located in downtown Salisbury, and we'll have more information to release once the ink's been signed on that. But wanted to try to answer any questions that I could. Wanted to let you know what the Ward staff might be able to answer, and make sure it was on your radar.
Okay, Eli, thank you very much. While I wait for a moment to see if there's a question from any of the members, the assets and the art, were those preserved? I thought I saw in the mention of that there was concern, more so I'm sure, for the artwork than the space, and just curious whether
Yes,
we were able to preserve the assets.
So the assets and the art, that it's all preserved. There's been even before, the museum, the museum where the assets were shown has been closed since the summer, and we've made sure that that's been well taken care of. The university does own that's all been preserved. There is space in the Ward Museum that's continued to be used. It's just that the HVAC is not museum quality. It's not where it's in a position right now where we can't have those high quality assets in that setting. But the museum is safe. The event space is in fact safe. It's just not up to the quality and the standards that are required for the collection.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, just as a Wacomico County resident and member, the War Museum has that responsibility for preserving the history and the assets. I know the building is, an important conversation, but the most one is making sure we maintain the heritage. And it sounds like to me that your organization is moving in a direction to do just that, to make sure our future generations get to see the heritage and history, the Ward brothers and what they meant, and that continue. The carving of wood and the way that we show art on the Eastern Shore, and is so very important to us. I'm happy to hear that that's a top priority on that. I'm not seeing further questions, Eli. So unless you have anything to add at the end here, I'm going to move along.
No, I appreciate your time, and I think you all know how to get a hold of me. So thank you.
Okay, so we are getting calls, and we'll, if you don't mind, we'll forward those to you to the extent that we would like to pass the message on.
Okay.
All right.
Sir.
Thank you. So next we had, and Chesapeake Bay Trust, thank you for letting us divert for just a moment on that subject. It is drawing some questions of the members. So Jana Davis and Suzanne Richards, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, delegation, for your time. We are the Chesapeake Bay Trust and the Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation, two separate organizations, but we're the ones who administer the funds from the two license plates, the background scene plates in Maryland. This is my old fashioned screen sharing. The ag tag on the bottom, the Bay plate on top. So I'll go first and I'll talk a little bit about the Chesapeake Bay Trust and what we do with the funds from the Chesapeake Bay license plate. I'm going to share my screen if I can very quickly, hopefully do this properly. So every year you get an annual report from us that lists all of the grants that we make in all of your districts. And it looks a little bit like this. And we make a number of grants on the Eastern Shore. We don't tell this to everybody, but over the past decade or so, about $16 million in grants have come from the Chesapeake Bay Trust to your communities. And we fund groups like faith-based groups, churches who maybe want to do a rain garden project to help flooding in their parking lot. We fund environmental organizations and non-environmental organizations alike. And I can send this list over for you at some point for you to look at the whole list of the $16 million in grants. And our request here today really is if you know of entities in your districts who are interested in doing an environment related project, please send them our way. We have a number of really cool grant programs. One of them is a new program to engage outdoor rehabilitation projects for veterans. So if you have veterans groups in your districts that you think might be interested, please send them our way. Delegates Jacobs and Otto and Anderton know us well from their work over the years on ENT, their current or former members. And Senator Cruz and I recently spoke about the fact that we fund a lot of projects also in the Coastal Bays watershed. We fund in Youghiogheny, all the way Western Maryland, Chesapeake Bay watershed, and of course the Coastal Bays. And so that's what the Bay plate, and we are also funded with a tax checkoff that you all created, the Chesapeake and Endangered Species tax checkoff. Everyone's favorite thing to do this time of year, pay your taxes. But you can, have fun with it by making a donation on your tax forms to that as well. And those dollars also come back into the community. And 92 cents, we're very efficient. 92 cents of every dollar goes right back into the communities for grants. So that's what the Bay plate does. I'm sorry, I'm speaking quickly. I know that we only have a couple of minutes. I'll turn it over to Suzanne, and I don't know, Delegate Jacobs or Otto or Anderton or Senator Cruz, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have thoughts about the Chesapeake Bay Trust and how folks can get engaged, obviously please share.
And you guys have plenty of time. There's no rush. So
okay, well, I'm sorry I spoke so quickly then.
Well, no, that's all right. We'll make sure we ask some questions here.
All right.
So go ahead, Suzanne.
Thank you. I'm Suzanne. I'm with the Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation, and we promote agricultural education in Maryland. And I'm fumbling right here. I know several of you. It's good to see so many familiar faces out there. I was very interested to hear about the Ward Museum because I used to live in Salisbury for many, many years. And so I'm very familiar with that. So glad to hear that things are safe there. So again, we work to promote the important role that agriculture plays in all of our lives. And we do know that agriculture has an extreme economic impact in Maryland with over $20 billion in economic activity every year and supporting quite a few jobs. So we like to be able to use agriculture as a context for teaching core subjects for our youngest learners, but also promote opportunities to study agriculture, the environment, natural resources for careers. And so agriculture's impact on the Eastern Shore, of course, is inescapable with over $5.5 billion in economic activity and lots of jobs. So MAFE sends mobile labs to our elementary schools. We have it's like a tractor trailer that shows up and it's got a science lab inside of it. So the students come out class by class, have a chance to experience a hands-on agricultural science lesson in there. We have Ag Literacy Week coming up. We support our teachers with professional development opportunities and resources on our website with lesson plans and different activities. We are the home for Maryland FFA, which is doing great, has bounced back after the pandemic, doing fantastic. And of course, we support a lot of different post-secondary opportunities as well. So we do have a scholarship program, which is open right now. We have offered two different kinds of scholarships. The application forms are on our website and they're open through April 1st. Our calendar contest will be closing soon. We ask students to draw artwork that's representative of Maryland agriculture, and then it's featured in our annual calendar. And we have garden grants, which will be opening up soon as well. So we provide lots of different resources, work with lots of different partners, all kinds of different activities. Specifically on the Eastern Shore in the past year, we visited a whole bunch of elementary schools, Glen Avenue down in Salisbury, Snow Hill. We spent about 5 weeks in Worcester County last year, which was a fantastic partnership with a different program down there. Reached over 3,000 students with in-person ag education. We had the showcase, which goes to public events at the Charlestown Elementary Career Day, Galena Dogwood Festival, and the Caroline Dorchester County Fair. We were also up at Cecil County Fair as well. And we have lots of FFA chapters all around the shore: Caroline, Cecil, Dorchester, Easton, Kent, Parkside, Queen Anne's, Somerset Tech, and Worcester Tech. So lots and lots of opportunities there. If you're interested in reading to students, I recommend that you sign on for our Ag Literacy Week program. That'll be in March. Fantastic opportunity to go visit with students and read a book about agriculture. And we have a little activity that goes along with it. So we do outreach in all kinds of levels, all kinds of ways. We appreciate your support and thank you for the opportunity to talk about MAFE this morning.
Okay, thank you very much. Delegate Jacobs.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jane and Suzanne, could you briefly talk about how easy it is to get one of these tags and what the cost is?
Sure.
I think it's a simple process with just a one-time cost there, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you, Delegate Jacobs. He knows the answer to this question, of course. So it's $20, super cheap, has not changed in 30 something years. So no adjustment for inflation. And you can do it wearing your pajamas online with the MVA website. It's pretty easy. And if folks are interested or interested in getting information out to your constituents about how to do it, please let us know. Suzanne, anything I missed on that, or Delegate Jacobs? Did I answer that properly?
You did a great job. And also they're available for delegate tags and senator tags as well. There you go.
Gosh, this turned into a shameless plug. Sorry about that.
Shameless self-promotion, but seriously, you really do a great job on a number of really wonderful projects. And, I've been able to witness them in my district for many, many years and been the recipient of some as well when I was mayor. So I'm just a huge fan, and I know our committee does a great deal to protect the viability of both programs, and because there's always a lot of interest of other worthwhile causes that want to also have their tag, but over the years, I think our committee's done a great job of really looking out for both tags and all the good work you do. So I thank you for all your work.
Thank you so much, Delegate Jacobs.
Thank you.
Delegate Hutchinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to let you know I was poking around your website while you guys were talking, and I just wanted to share with you how impressed I am with your map that illustrates where all of your projects have gone. And I look forward to poking around to see specifically what you've done in my district. So that's awesome. You did a nice job there.
Wonderful. And we can actually send a list over of grants that we made in your district as well.
Great, thanks.
Okay, I'm not seeing any further questions. Thank you very much for your presentation today. Members, I think we'll start real quickly. I see our federal partners, and then I want to kind of share with the delegation the next handful of meetings and sort of the situation we're in. We're quickly coming toward the end of our delegation meetings as we reach crossover, so I want to share that at the end. But Kim Cradaville, Lissa Hastings, and I'm not seeing Andy Harris's. Sometimes that's been on the phone, so I don't know who might be calling in from Andy Harris's office. But any federal updates?
I'll go quickly. I don't really have much of an update other than it's nice to meet the secretary. Look forward to working with him. And also nice to hear about the federal funding, of course, the federally qualified health center with Chop Tank Health and with Chop Tank Electric, the infrastructure, the B funding and the CARES Act funding. And certainly we're available to help work through any of that. If you all need us, you know where to find me. So thank you and greetings from DC.
Good morning. This is Jackie from Congressman Andy Harris's office.
Hi, Jackie.
Hello. Just want to say hello. Really great information as always today. Always good to learn about who's in the administration that we can be partnering with and hearing from you all about what your concerns are as well. Again, we're working on getting the congressman in to see you all. So anything you guys need from us, just reach out.
Okay, we're making the calendar open and available to his schedule, so we're anxious to.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
No other federal updates? Okay. So members, we have what I'm seeing is 4 more meetings that are coming up, the 24th, the 3rd, the 10th, and then the 17th. And I'm not going to say that these are full meetings, but I'm very encouraged. You want to know that we have, I believe, 7 additional cabinet secretaries that are going to come in and give us, I'm going to call these brief introductions. In the first year, I think it's so very important that we hear from the administration and meet the folks that are going to be representing our interests, and furthermore, that the public knows that our delegation is engaged with and understand the importance of partnership with the governor, and this is the way we do it. So over these next few weeks, if you as members hear from advocates that would like to present, so for today it just came up to mind because of how we're kind of a little disjointed trying to bring cabinet secretaries in. I thought Delmarva Power, Chesapeake Utilities, Eastern Utilities might team up with a presentation from MEA, things like that. So if you have suggestions, there is some opportunity to add presentations. I will say that one of the pieces of feedback I got related to making sure that we try to keep the meetings condensed when possible, but I will tell you the next few weeks should look to be pretty full. Senator Croza.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to make suggestions. I just think a little bit of guidance on that, which I think that your predecessor, Chair Ernst, did so well, and you're doing as well. When I have a group that will ask me about the delegation, my first question is, would it impact the majority? Would it impact all 9 counties or the majority of the counties to kind of see if it'll make the cut? So, I think a lot of us have different organizations in our districts that we would want to feature. But I think if we can, that might be one way, I think, as far as prioritization. For example, I had the Maryland Bike Group come in, and I know that they're doing a lot in my 3 counties, but when I asked them, they were able to say that they were working in all 9 counties. So that's probably, I'll pass along some contact information there. So I just wanted to, because I think sometimes the floodgates could open, and if there could be some way to prioritize so it benefits, the majority of our counties.
And thank you for that. I'll tell you that over the years, and we've had delegation meetings for 9 years, we quite often align cabinet secretaries with common nonprofit or for-profit interests to bring a full presentation. This being the first year of a new administration, I'm finding it a little bit difficult because we're getting a lot of yeses from the different folks, and we're trying to fit our calendar in with that. But to the extent that we can make available, very short introductions and presentations like the one you just described. I mean, they don't have to be 20-minute, PowerPoints. They can surely come in and do that. And, whether or not we're going to have space available for every, request is sort of I can't, promise that. But I hear what you're saying. This year feels a little different than years past as we're trying to align subject matter with, you know, the different administration secretaries. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, have a good day.
Good.